Hi boys and girls, I hope that everyone has had a really great day so far. Today we are going to be working on character analysis. So we are going to be reading a short story. We're going to read Giraffes Can't Dance. Some of you may remember this from last week. We did do a read aloud on it. So today we're going to be looking at the main character, Gerald, and analyzing his feelings, how he changes throughout the book, and his character traits. We are going to be using this graphic organizer, which I have made available on a document. You are going to be accessing this document and you're going to just be typing in the information. We are going to do this twice. We are going to do a character analysis on Gerald in the beginning of the book, and we are going to do it one more time with Gerald at the end of the book. So the graphic organizer talks about his appearance, his thoughts, what other people in the book think about him, and what he thinks about himself and his actions. So as we're reading Giraffes Can't Dance, I want you to think about how he changes throughout the book, how other characters perceive him throughout the book, and how that makes him feel, and how that changes his actions. So our I can statement today is I can, in depth, describe a character, setting, or event in a story by drawing on specific details in the text. So it's very important as we are filling out this graphic organizer to go back into the text, and you can do that by rewinding the video, to find evidence in the book that correlates with his actions and the change that he makes throughout the story. Okay, so let's get started. Giraffes can't dance. Gerald was a tall giraffe whose neck was long and slim, but his knees were awfully crooked and his legs were rather thin. He was very good at standing still and munching shoots off trees, but when he tried to run around, he buckled at the knees. Now, every year in Africa, they hold a jungle dance where every single animal turns up to skip and prance. And this year, when the day arrived, poor Gerald felt so sad because when it came to dancing, he was really very bad. The warthogs started waltzing and the rhinos rock and rolled. The lions danced a tango that was elegant and bold. The chimps all did a cha-cha with a very Latin feel, and 8 baboons then teamed up for a splendid Scottish reel. Gerald swallowed bravely as he walked toward the floor, but the lions saw him coming, and they soon began to roar. "Hey, look at clumsy Gerald," the animals all sneered. "Giraffes can't dance, you silly fool. Oh, Gerald, you're so weird." Gerald simply froze up. He was rooted to the spot. "They're right," he thought. "I'm useless. Oh, I feel like such a clot." So he crept off from the dance floor and he started walking home. He'd never felt so sad before, so sad and so alone. Then he found a little clearing and he looked up at the sky. "The moon can be so beautiful," he whispered with a sigh. "Excuse me," coughed a cricket, who'd seen Gerald earlier on. "But sometimes when you're different, you just need a different song." Listen to the swaying grass and listen to the trees. To me, the sweetest music is those branches in the breeze. So imagine that the lovely moon is playing just for you. Everything makes music, if you really want it to. With that, the cricket smiled and picked up his violin. Then Gerald felt his body do the most amazing thing. His hooves had started shuffling, making circles on the ground. His neck was gently swaying, and his tail was swishing round. He threw his arms out sideways, and he swung them everywhere. Then he did a backward somersault and leapt up in the air. Gerald felt so wonderful. His mouth was open wide. I'm dancing. Yes, I'm dancing. I am dancing, Gerald cried. Then one by one each animal who'd been there at the dance arrived while Gerald boogied on and watched them quite entranced. They shouted, "It's a miracle! We must be in a dream! Gerald's the best dancer that we've ever seen!" "How'd you learn to dance like that? Please, Gerald, tell us how." But Gerald simply twirled around and finished with a bow. Then he raised his head and looked up at the moon and stars above. "We all can dance," he said, "when we find music that we love." Okay, so that was the end of our story, Giraffes Can't Dance. Please remember that we are using our character analysis graphic organizer in order to discuss how Gerald changes throughout the text. Remember that we're using this twice, so we are conducting an analysis in the beginning of the text on his traits, his feelings, his actions, and again at the end of the text in order to convey how Gerald changed throughout the text. It's very important that when you are filling out this graphic organizer that you go back into our book, and that you can do that by rewinding this video in order to find evidence throughout the text that supports your ideas. Okay guys, good job today.